Why can't you just enjoy it?
I have a question real quick.
I am happy.
So if somebody has a heart attack, then you keep going on with the wedding, or you just...
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
Right.
You're terrible.
I'm not a good person.
What's the lead singer of Warlock's name?
Who the hell knows?
Warlocks?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm on it, Chad.
I don't know.
We are.
I don't know.
You've never seen Warlock or heard of him?
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
She's got hair down to the...
Doro Pesh.
Huh?
Doro Pesh.
Okay. I didn't know her name. I just knew.
No, she does ask you for...
It's women's...
she calls to ask you
okay,
questions.
right?
What are you people? On dope?
Well, we know someone is.
No, I'm on a chair.
Yeah.
All right, Shannon, we got to get the hell out of here.
We sent you an ambulance.
Oh, heads up, full moon Friday.
Full Moon Friday?
Can't wait.
Yes.
All right, I'm glad it's Friday.
Bye, Shannon.
Alrighty.
We love you.
Later.
Wait, that's kind of weird, though.
Bye, Shanny.
Friday's the last day for the celebrity death pool, and it's a full moon.
That's right. All right, got to thank Kyle Heavey for hanging out with us this morning.
Yeah.
Off the Mark Sports every Sunday.
I want to give one more thing to Mar Hamlin's fundraiser. He only had a goal of 2,500. The NFL community has come out 133,000 donors so far.
Wow.
It's almost up to $3.5 million. His
Awesome.
goal, again, was 2,500.
Oh,
So great
Smart
job,
move.
NFL community, and we're hoping for the best for Damar Hamlin and scary situation in NFL game last night. And
That's right.
hoping we'll have more for that on Sunday.
all right, check out Off the Mark Sports every Sunday morning live at 10 a.m. Mark it on your calendar. Thank you, Kyle Clayton. Yeah, two Kyles here, so I get confused.
Thank you, Peter White.
Thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow. We have Bill Cini's trivia tomorrow. Gonzo,
Yeah.
sorry it didn't work out for
Have a
you
nice
today,
day. Yeah,
getting the
great.
thing, but
Perfect.
I don't know.
Whatever.
You want me to put in a good word for you?
Nope.
All right. We appreciate you. Great motivational speech this morning.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Matt Juno, thank you.
You're welcome.
We will see you tomorrow. Great job with traffic today.
Oh, thanks. I'm just having fun.
All right. All right, that's going to do it for us this morning, folks. Keep it right here. You got Matt Connerton Unleashed coming up at 4 p.m. Have a great day, everybody.
And suddenly things turned ugly.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
You are listening to WMNHLP, Manchester's radio, broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA.
everybody. Welcome. Here we go. It's that time again. Matt Connerton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. A little dark, a little rainy, but it is glorious, of course. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, find out how you can get one of these sweet shirts, etc., etc. And today is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. So welcome, everyone. Nice to have you with me. And we have a boy, what an interesting day this has been so far. And it's not over yet in politics. This is, you know, I never take it for granted. I appreciate the opportunity to do a show like this. And it's especially rewarding on a day so fascinating for a political junkie like me as we watch Kevin McCarthy lose on the first ballot and actually manage to do even worse on the second ballot in his quest to become speaker. But we'll get into all of that, and we'll try to get into some other things today as well. But we'll keep an eye on the Kevin McCarthy situation. I don't know if they're going to do a third vote today. I assume they are. They have to get this done, or Congress is, the House anyway, the lower chamber of Congress is effectively paralyzed until they get this figured out. So I'm telling you, I said to Jenny yesterday, I think the moment is nigh for Steve Scalise to come to the rescue, and just everybody can, not everybody, of course, the Democrats will vote for Hakeem Jeffries, but in the first, on the first ballot, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat, that's who the Democrats are voting for, and he is, of course, the minority leader, replacing Nancy Pelosi's position in leadership in the House for the Democrats. He actually got more votes than Kevin McCarthy did on the first ballot, because so many of them are not voting. So many of the Republicans are not voting for Kevin McCarthy. But we have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connerton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, guess who?
This is Kevin McCarthy calling to plead for support.
Hey, my mother always says that. You want to hear some good news today, Matt Connerton?
Your mother always says, do you want to hear some good news today, Matt Connerton?
Hey, I have to call you back because it's busy here. Hang on, I'll call you back.
Okay, yes.
I'll call you back in my room. Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right. Always nice to get a call from our friend Easy G. It sounds like there was a lot going on there in the background with Easy G at the assisted living facility in which he resides. And, of course, you know, my theory is it's that Bruce guy. Bruce makes a lot of trouble. So,
boy, you should have known by now. Easy dope.
But anyway, we'll hear back from him, I'm sure. But I would also like to hear from you today. 603-250-6007 is the number if you'd like to join us on the studio line, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connerton, or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And of course, you are welcome to interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. We have a busy chat room. We'll say hello to everybody in there in just a moment. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to call us at 603-250-6007. And this is probably Easy G calling back. Hopefully he, yes, it is him actually. Hopefully he got Bruce to settle down. Hey, did you, Eric, did you get Bruce to pipe down there?
Yeah, I'm in my room now. It's just too loud, you know.
Too loud.
People like to yell and scream here.
Well, it's an exciting place.
Anyways.
I understand.
You want to hear some good news of the new year here? You want to hear some?
I don't know if you know this about me, but I happen to be a very big fan of good news.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, I Facebook messaged your other significant other, Jenny, and I was doing some math on my paper. You know, I'm not really good at math, but I wanted to talk it up a little bit. For the relay coming up in June, it's never a bad time to talk about the Relay for Life.
Yes, I agree.
June 3rd, probably in Pembroke, but it's not official yet. But I was doing the math, and I say to myself, wow, I raised $3,500 and $26, and I've already got my app going. I say, hey, why can't I raise another $1,000 or even more and get to $5,000 in 3 months? So if anybody's interested, they can go to my Facebook app.
Now, we should
explain.
explain.
And I would greatly appreciate that.
Now, it's a wonderful cause, and you do a great job, Eric, but please take a moment and explain to everybody, especially newer listeners, the uninitiated, if you will, what the Relay for Life is exactly and why it's so important.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is for cancer research, because everybody knows that cancer sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, we raise more money in the East Coast here than for the Relay, for the American Cancer Society, anywhere in the country. So, yeah, I guess I'm pretty good at it, because I raise a lot of money.
You are
People
good
always
at
say
it.
to me, how do you raise all that money? I said, well, I just ask people nicely, and mostly done on Facebook, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, nobody has to give me any money. It's not my money, by the way. It goes to the Relay. It's all on Facebook. And I think you can even give checks now, which is good, because some people don't have a opportunity to go on Facebook. So
yes. Yep. No,
so,
you do.
Information is a little confusing, because I guess you have to have Facebook, and on the app you got to call that certain number, 1-800 number, and they can send you the information, I guess, or where you can send a check. So you kind of have to be on Facebook, I guess. So, but sometimes I do go face to face and ask them, you know, for a donation. I always say to myself, well, what can I do to mix it up a little bit? So I say, hey, the person will ask me in almost every year, Mike Doyle gives me some money. And he says, well, Eric, how much you want this year? And I always say, it's up to you, Mike. And then he gives me, you know, a 10 or a 20. Because if I say a $5 bill, guess what will happen?
What will happen?
They'll give me a $5 bill. So I always say, it's a little trick I learned.
No.
They say, hey, it's up to you. So when I say that, it was to give me more money than they were originally planned.
I'm quite certain, Eric, if you said to Mike Doyle, "Oh, just give me a $5 bill," he'd give you more than that. He'd give you a 10 or a 20, I'm sure.
He's a very nice guy, as you well know. We had some
he's-
trouble with him sometimes on the radio, like me not listening to what Matt's saying. But
well,
I looked at one time, he said, hey, Mike Doyle. I said, it's my show. Can I speak up a few minutes?
Yes. Well, but then...
I remember you had a Mike Doyle day on your repeat show there. It's like, oh, my God, I was laughing. I said, oh, my God.
Yes.
You know, arguments you've had. But you like arguments on the show. You're that kind of guy.
Oh, it makes for good radio. It's intellectually stimulating. And, I welcome that. I
figure, you know, give everybody some good news today about the Relay coming, because a lot of people don't even know what the Relay's all about. You know, this is my 10th year, by the way, of doing it. So,
by the way,
I'm always energized to do it.
Yes, you are.
And,
even just talking about it gets you energized. Now, Scott Robinson in the chat has a very important question. He says, "How much is Bruce donating?"
Yeah, well, I'm not really asking people around here, because, you know, it's kind of, you know, I don't feel comfortable asking, you know, the workers, people that live here, because, you know, they already have enough problems, so I'm not going to, you know, ask them for money, and I could get myself into some kind of trouble. So I'll just leave it to Facebook, and if I happen to bump into somebody, you know, in Manchester or you know, I can ask them, but you know what I'm saying there, man. You know, I don't want to.
I know what you're
I don't
saying.
want somebody knocking on my door and say, "Hey, Eric, I don't want you asking for money." You know, I figured out this is not a good idea.
And Bruce is the type, he'll go and tattle on you. He'll go and tell somebody, "Ooh, Easy G asked me for money."
You don't say it, Matt. You know, this is
I
a
do.
nursing home, and I don't think I really should go door to door. Hey, you want to give me some money? And I was.
I get it.
Hey, Eric, stop that.
I get it.
So why even bother? You know?
We all know what Bruce is like. He likes to make trouble.
Trick I learned is go back to the same people. You know, they say, "Hey, I helped you one year. Can you help me again?" And guess what? About 99% of the time, they say, "Oh, sure, we'll help you again."
Absolutely.
Like I said, one of the local business here in town gave me $250. So guess what? I'll be knocking on their door in a couple of months. I'll call them up because they don't have Facebook, and I'll say, "Hey, can you help me out again?" They'll say, "Oh, sure."
That's a nice donation.
What's the worst that can happen when you ask somebody, right? Almost 99% of the time, they'll say, "Yeah, I can help you. You know, I'll put up a couple bucks on your Facebook app."
Who gave you that? That's a nice.
I always learned it a long time ago. It never hurts to ask.
That's a nice donation. Who gave you $250? Do you remember? We should give them some.
I remember. But the person that gave me the money said, "I want you to remain. I don't want to remain anonymous."
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
that's. Don't announce it on the radio. But I can tell you, somebody gave me $250 in a local business downtown Manchester, but I can't say who it is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I'm going to ask him again for a nice donation, and I'll say, "Hey, I'll do it again. I'll send you a check." So hey. I mean, not me, but I'll send it, to the Relay.
Yes, well, yes. You are a conduit.
I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole list. It's going to bore everybody, but, I started up on January 1st. I said, why not? It's the new year, and I said, obviously I haven't raised any money yet, but it's only been 3 days, But I lived by that rule last year, too, is you only ask somebody once, and they think about it, either send you some money on the Facebook app or they don't. It's not a good idea, as you well know, with the guy from Awesome Mike Sports, where I called up and he would say, "Hey, Eric, you can't call up the radio show looking for money."
Oh,
I know it's all kind of for the radio, but still, I shouldn't have done that.
No, I think he was. I think he was legitimately upset with you, actually.
No. I talked to him about a year ago. He said Eric was all for the radio, but still, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, he says that now. I think at the time, though, he was actually upset.
I got a little too aggressive, so that's my model again this year. I just have somebody once on Facebook, or I see them face to face in Manchester. They'll either give me money or they won't. So I'm not going to be too aggressive like was a couple of years ago. Because I just end up getting egg on my face, and you get a person mad, and they won't ever give you money.
That's right. Well, I'm going to play the clip after the call.
That's my model this year. I'm going to try to raise $1,000 again.
Yes.
And I want to not be too aggressive. Just ask people once to either going to give me some money for the relay or they're not. So
right.
You can't take it personal, Some people say, hey, Eric, I don't have the money this year. And I say, don't worry about it. No issues, You don't want to make people feel guilty.
No. That would not be, that's not good to do.
So I'll use my same trick as I did this year. But, I'm not going to ask people here.
Well, it's not a trick.
Knocking my door and say, hey, what are you doing going room to room asking for money? I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't feel comfortable asking the boss here, can you give me some money? It's just probably not a good idea.
Right. Agreed.
Right. But my little brain in my head said, hey, Eric, don't do that. Because then I got knocked on the door. I said, hey, Eric, what are you doing? Asking people for money.
That's right.
You know my luck over the years.
And I know Bruce.
But my luck is good raising money, so what the heck? I'll do it again. Why not?
That's right. It's not luck, it's skill. You're a natural fundraiser.
Right, so, like I said one more time, if anybody wants to go on my Facebook app and to throw some money for the relay, it's never too early to start promoting the relay, like I told the guy who runs the relay job. And by the way, you don't get any money for helping the relay, by the way. It's all volunteers.
Ah, yes.
So, so I told him, I said, stop promoting on the radio a lot. He said, hey, great idea. So.
Yes.
And before you know it will be June 3rd. And, hey, a couple years ago, you and Jenny went, and I really appreciate that. Even though it's 100 degrees out, you showed up for an hour, and then you left because it was too damn hot. But
too damn hot.
I appreciate that. You showing up, and that was really, really nice.
Well, we appreciate you, Easy G.
All right, so I'll let you go, and I get the word out there. And, I'm working on my report, so they'll be all fresh for next Thursday. And plus, it's going to be a weather report. A real quick one, though, about 1 minute, so. Because I know they're doing traffic now on the Peter White Morning Show. So
yeah, I think Matt Juno is doing that, right? He's doing the traffic on the morning show.
He does it twice a show.
I wish I still had the clip. I don't have the website that I had it saved on doesn't work anymore. I had the clip saved of
Joel used to do the weather too. He used to do the weather, sports, and the traffic.
Yeah,
so he said traffic spotted. He left. Poor guy. Hey, good news. He's back now, so everything's good.
Yeah, everything's good. All right, Easy. Well, we appreciate the call.
I'll let you go, and you have a great rest of your show.
All right, thanks, Eric. Bye-bye. All right, that was our friend Easy G.
Boy, you should have known by now. Easy does.
I don't know if they give him some Adderall at the facility there. Now, just quickly, only because he referred to it. Well, actually, I'll save it. We'll grab this call first. But I do want to play the clip of Easy and Kyle Heavey's interaction that he referred to. And I'll let the audience be the judge. Was Kyle actually genuinely irritated with Easy that day? But we have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connerton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hello, Mr. Ratso. How are you, my good friend? So listen, I got an offer for you. I'm going to be starting very, very soon in that station, which I cannot say because, you guys will try to, crucify me. But I will say this. I'm willing, now that I'm going to be at a station with 6 million, that's 6 million listeners in over 70 countries. And by the way, your girlfriend can make fun all she wants, but nobody knows her outside of Manchester. Anyway, Ratso, I've decided that you could be my producer, and what's his name there? DJ Loser can be my musical director, although I think that's a mistake because he doesn't know anything but rap music anyway, so he would know what real good music is. So I think that's a a mistake. It was just that it was suggested to me by somebody that listens to your show and said that he should be the music director. Well, that's a big mistake. That's never going to happen. But definitely, Ratso, you could be my producer. I told you I would hook you up. I'll catch you later, Mary. I've never been so happy in all my life. And by the way, I'm not making this up. It's true. It's true. I was interviewed by the boss. Just like you got your boss, I got one too now.
So I'm never sure if that's live or a recording. 6 million listeners. Wow. You know, there's not an internet station on the planet that gets 6 million human beings listening to it. That's actually not a thing. Now, our friend Shannon is on the line. Hi, Shannon.
See, you never give me the opportunity to be somebody else because you always give it away.
Oh, that's true. Well, I won't give it away anymore if you're planning to introduce a character or two.
The Bonnie Laughs, maybe someday. But Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to you.
I heard part of the show yesterday, but I was tired. I just wanted to say hi to Jenny too, and let me know I'm glad you guys are back.
Oh, well, thank you.
Here.
Yes, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
And now, just me listening, to the morning show in the afternoon, and you guys, it seems to be a pattern. I think it might be something to do with the full moon. Not Adderall, because I noticed Easy G was going, hi Easy G. But it might have to do with the full moon.
Well, I had not considered that. Yeah, because he does swing wildly between modalities, if you will. Sometimes he's mumbling and he sounds almost unconscious, and other times he's very animated and he does ramble a bit.
And I can at times. I try not to, but I was going to say something else and I don't remember what it was.
Oh. Well, I don't know. You were speaking of things of a lunar nature a moment ago. Was it something related to the moon?
No, but I think my memory loss is.
Your memory loss is related to the moon?
No, just my overall being, usually the week before the full moon, the cat gets like scratchy and bitey, and I that's when I look at the calendar. Oh, yeah, full moon's coming. So. But, yeah. Oh, Seth Rogen, you've heard of him?
Of course.
Okay. He's got a book out. If you and Jenny, if Jenny's a reader,
yes.
If she hasn't read it, it's called Yearbook.
Oh, I've heard of the book. I've not read it, but I'm aware of it because I remember listening to him being interviewed on Howard Stern and they were talking about the book. Yeah.
The guy does a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Drugs, I mean.
Oh, well, he's got a whole cannabis business that he's involved in, I believe, he and his wife.
Yeah, well, that's I haven't heard about that one yet. I'm not on that chapter yet, but no, I think we went past the chapter.
Well,
and then I won't give anything away, but it's funny.
Well, I don't condone all of that, Shannon. I like to say hugs, not drugs. Except,
baloney.
Except, well, I like to say it, but I'm not really that much of a hugger, so I really don't do much of either.
Where did I just hear this? I just heard this today, and I don't remember where. Someone said it was on. I don't know.
Oh, something.
It was
something to do with the moon.
The thing is, all these poo-pooers on the marijuana and everything else that go and drink 2 bottles of wine a night or a case of beer or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't realize the drug that they are ingesting.
Oh, of course.
It's put a good way, but you'd have to read the book because that's where I remember it from.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, obviously, between cannabis and alcohol will do far more harm than cannabis ever could. I mean, that's the reality of it.
And if you have glaucoma, wouldn't it help you?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I don't use it for that. I have pigmentary glaucoma, but I just use an eye drop once a day, and it.
I like how you said you don't use it. What's useful about it? No, just kidding.
Well, because
it's a line out of Scent of a Woman.
Oh, right.
Do you remember that movie?
Hoo-ha! Is that what he says?
Hoo-ha!
Hoo-ha! Oh, hoo-ha is something different.
Hoo-ha is the army.
Hoo-ha!
Yeah.
Yes.
It's when they get into the room of the Waldorf, and Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade has Charlie Sims look at the liquor there, let him know what's there for booze, and he said, "Help yourself." And Charles Sims says, I don't use this stuff." He said, "Well, what's useful about it?"
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You really didn't need to know all that. See, I rambled. Okay.
All right, Shannon. Well. Yeah. Oh, yes.
And can I put a request in now for maybe 15 minutes of the smooth jazz experience once in a while?
Oh, you like the smooth jazz, do you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want, we could do. We haven't done the smooth jazz yet in the new year. We could actually do. We could actually do a little bit of smooth jazz right now because
because there's a lot of things you want to get to too, and I don't want to take the show away from you completely. But
well, yeah, I only do though when we do the smooth jazz experience, Shannon. We only do it for a moment anyway because otherwise it just gets out of hand. But it is kind of nice once in a while to hear that bass, I mean, listen to that bass. That's nice. It's groovy. Ooh.
Jazz hands.
Smooth jazz. Listen to those drums. I wish I had my sunglasses. Got to do it right, Shannon, but I don't have my sunglasses with me. But I do like a little bit of smooth jazz.
Yes.
It's nice.
All right.
Little smooth jazz.
I'm already relaxing.
Yeah. Who even needs cannabis when you've got smooth jazz?
Me.
Actually, probably need more of it to listen to this for more than a minute and a half. But I think after the show today, I'm going to put on my favorite Kenny G album. Maybe some.
He's good.
Maybe some John Tesh.
John Tesh is pianist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's groovy.
And I read all the Michael Connelly books, and I cannot think of the jazz that he always listened to, Harry Bosch.
Me neither. Ooh. All right.
Peter has a little bit of jazz in the morning going before 7.
Is it smooth jazz?
Smooth jazz, and some is smooth, some is not so smooth, but I just picture in my mind, I'm the narrator and the detectives walking up the rainy street and looking, it's just a fun thing to do.
Well, that's an indication of good music when you can when it evokes something in your mind, when it activates your imagination in that way.
That and only child syndrome, I do believe also.
Yes, that forces you to develop an imagination. I agree. I mean, I have siblings, but I was an only child until I was 10. Yeah.
Were you mad or glad?
Oh, at
the time.
Oh, I was happy to have siblings, but I often feel like I grew up an only child, even though I technically did not. But I feel like I did.
Because you were 10 years older.
Yeah, I was 10 years old when my half-sister Amy was born, and then 12 years old when my half-sister Lindsay was born, so, close enough.
Yeah, because when they were 10, you were 20, so yeah, you were old. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, so, yeah. They almost don't even count. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I'm totally kidding. I don't want my dad to get mad at me. No, I'm absolutely kidding. But, all right, Shannon. Well, very good. Well, go and enjoy the moon, and I'm glad we were able to enjoy some smooth jazz together.
Yes, thank you very much. You have a good night, and tell Jenny I said hello.
She's listening. She heard you, but I will remind her. Yes.
Okay.
All right, Shannon. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Always nice to hear from our friend Shannon. And that does open up the line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. By the way, so I don't know if y'all remember, but recently, very recently, we heard about an individual who was claiming that they were going to have a show on an internet station that and they were going to have 6 million listeners. Not only is that not a thing and does that not exist, because there is not an internet radio station or streaming service. We don't even, the term internet radio is kind of arcane and antiquated, but so not only does that not exist, I don't know if anything on satellite radio even gets 6 million listeners anymore. Not even Howard Stern. But and I love Howard, but I don't think he has 6 million listeners. I'm sure it's much less. But I was reminded of something, and Jenny will know who I'm talking about. It's someone from the past we don't really talk about on the show. Not because this person is on the list of people we just don't discuss necessarily, but it's someone well-known locally who does not live locally, but if I give too many hints, you'll know who I'm talking about, and I just don't want to get into the identity of this person. But I remember a number of years ago, geez, this would have been more than 5 years ago, and Jenny will remember this too. This particular person and I had a falling out, and this person and I had done some work together on her. She had a podcast, and I had helped her with it, and then we had a falling out, and she went off and took her podcast elsewhere, and then she was claiming that the new internet station that she was on at the time had something like she had just gotten numbers. She had just gotten some listenership numbers back from the owner of the internet station, and was telling her she had something like 3 million or 4 million listeners. And it was like, wow, either you're out of your mind or someone is lying to you and you're that gullible. Like, if you have an internet show with 3 or 4 million listeners, you're probably famous. You are famous, and this person wasn't famous. It's like, what is wrong with people? Anyway, so that's what that reminds me of. There is no such thing as an internet radio station with 6 million listeners. Now, the other thing I did want to do before we move on, and then we'll say hello to everybody in the chat room, and then we'll get caught up on the big news of the day, of course, with Kevin McCarthy's continued failures to become House Speaker. But just quickly, because I did, this will be very brief, but I did promise it. For anyone who hasn't heard it, we were discussing this briefly when EZG called in his infamous call into Off the Mark Sports with Kyle Heavey, which is, of course, one of the great shows here on WMNH 95.3. That Kyle does every week. I had the honor and privilege of appearing on the show once a number of months ago, even though I don't know anything about sports, but Vince McMahon was stepping down from WWE at the time, so Kyle invited me on to talk about that, and I had a great time. So, and Kyle's a great guy. We love Kyle. And I think he was on the morning show this morning too, actually. Peter had 2 Kyles with him, Heavey and Clayton. But anyway, so Eric EZG had called into Kyle Heavey's show looking for a donation for the Relay for Life charity, and it didn't actually go particularly well. And we saw a little bit of a different side of Kyle, but I think Kyle was legitimately irritated in the moment that this happened. But I'll leave it to you to judge. Here it is.
We're going to take this call. I'm thinking it's EZG because I was able to fix the phone line. So, good morning. Welcome to Off the Mark Sports.
Hey, it's VG. The phones are working. Yay.
Yeah, it's the show on Friday night, still remain nameless, clogged the phone lines and never put it back on. So, yes, it was off, but we got it cleared up. And
right.
Thank you for letting us know that it was not working properly.
Oh, there you go. Hey, guys, got a quick question for you, Kyle. I know a couple weeks ago you posted on my Facebook Messenger that you were going to give me a donation for the relay.
Yeah, and I know you.
Reminder that I haven't got it yet, please.
Oh, you're going to call the show about that instead of talking to me through that? I'm hanging up on you, EZG. I don't need that type of atmosphere here. If you're going to ask for my donation, ask for it in you don't need to call my radio show Talk Sports. This is what this Off the Mark Sports Show is about, not about accepting donations. Your birthday's coming up. I was trying to surprise you. So now I can rethink my donation thing, because that was pretty rude of you, Easy G, on this Sunday morning. So thank you very much for calling in and listening to the show. That was just not called for at all, and a little upset about that right now. So either way, it is a beautiful Sunday morning. A little slight showers, 55 degrees on this April 25th day. Back to the Bruins, Cam, because I'm over that.
Yes, a classic moment from here at WMNH.
Boy, you should have known by now. Easy dough.
All right, 603-250-6007 is the studio line. It is open for you, 603-250-6007. Let's say hello to everybody in the Facebook Live chat, and then we'll get to some stuff. We'll get to Kevin McCarthy, and we'll see what else we can get into today. There's, as always, there's many things, a myriad of things going on. Rick Smith joins us in the chat room. A million things going on, including me not being able to speak all of a sudden. Rick Smith joins us in the chat room. There we go. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont joins us. Hello, Melanie. As well as Rocky Huber. And our friend Ron joins us on the line. Hi, Ron.
Hey, how you doing? It's nice to hear your adulterous voice.
My adulterous voice? How dare you?
Yeah. Hey, I was listening to Shannon earlier. Did somebody say something about full moon?
Yes. There is a full moon.
I'm sporting a full moon.
You're sporting a full... Oh, I see.
Yeah, the full Monty.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good, Ron. It's getting back to nature, I suppose, right?
Oh, shoot.
Uh-oh. Did you lose your phone and your moon? What? Ron, are you there?
Yeah. Something was going on. All of a sudden, I was starting to lose you. I couldn't hear you.
Ah, must be the moon.
Yeah. Just saying, hey, and maybe not this year, but maybe next year, I might start a rally or something. So I was wondering if I could start collecting for it now.
A rally? Like a biker rally or something?
Well, I don't know, maybe just a run or something, a couple little race, little run, but no sense waiting for the last minute. I might as well start
a relay.
Trying to collect some money now.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, you know what you should do, Ron? I suggest you call into Kyle Heavey on Off the Mark Sports. Ask him for some cash.
Hey, listen, Easy, I know you're out there. I'm just having fun with you, and that's good fun.
Of course.
It's not good fun. It's kind of probably struck a note, but I mean, I'm just teasing you. But for real, Easy, you got to breathe, buddy. You get into a conversation, you got a lot to say, but you got to speak and breathe, stop and listen. So make that your New Year's res.
Yeah, he made that his New Year's resolution last year, Ron, and the results mixed at best.
They vary.
Mm-hmm. They sure do.
And that's all right. You know what I mean? I'm not going to fault them. Just try to remember, Easy, just what I said.
Yes.
So anyways, I'm ready to listen to the rest of the show. I just want to chime in, say hi, and ask if you know what's going on for Friday with Paulie C.
Oh, I do. And while you're on the line, I can pull it up here. What Paul posted. Actually, he posted this because I know you're not on social media, correct, Ron?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, so Paul posted this. He said, I started production of this Friday's episode of Retro Spectrum Radio, originally intended to pay tribute to the celebrities and musicians who died in 2022, but due to the staggering number of musicians alone, we'll be breaking it up into 2 episodes. This Friday, we'll be remembering the stars of the big and small screens, and next Friday, the 13th, will feature the musicians lost in 2022. We'll be once again joined by classic TV and movie aficionado John Hopwood this Friday for the annual Celeb episode. So that will be this Friday night from 8 to 11 p.m. right here on WMNH 95.3 FM.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes. Yes.
All right, sir. Enjoy the rest of your night. Be safe. Watch out for the ice.
Oh, it's supposed to be ice?
Well, it's slippery out there. Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
I went out to get my mail, and I was, like, woo.
Oh, that's not good. Must be the moon.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it must be the moon. Take care, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Ron.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. That was our friend Ron, and that does open up the line for you. 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007. Let's see. Alex Whiteley from the UK joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Alex. And looks like our friend Shannon is calling back. Hi, Shannon.
Yes, hello. Where does one get YouTube? From the internet?
Yes, youtube.com.
Okay, from the internet.
Yes.
Okay, Ron has it.
Oh, he
So
does?
he's checking out YouTube recipes for octopus.
Oh. Octopus. Ew.
I listen carefully.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay.
All right, Shannon.
That's it.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right. Octopus. Ugh. Ugh. That sounds, I don't like seafood anyway, so why would I eat that? Let's see. Scott Robinson was in the chat room asking, are we getting an entertainment report today? I feel lost. No, but he is planning one for next Thursday, I believe. So he does want to get back into the groove of doing that. Rocky Huber says, tell Easy you're not supposed to sniff the blue pill the nurse gives you. Gives him. Sorry, we'll get him excited. Jason Fedderson joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Jason. Let's see. There's some comments in there I can't really read on the air, but they're very funny. Rocky says, I'm trying to get Easy G to sell all the old people edibles at the old folks home where he lives. Charles Richardson from the great state of Florida, and of course host of the Charles Richardson Show, joins us in the chat and says, Happy New Year, gang. Haven't spoken to you guys since last year. Yes, hello, Charles. Let's see. Miriam Banish joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Miriam. Just want to make sure we don't miss anybody in your very busy chat room today. By the way, that's my, I can't read that comment on the air laugh for anyone who doesn't know that. Oh boy. Some of these I'd really like to read, but I think I'd get into some trouble. It's good though. Let's see here. Jenny said I was evil, I think, for playing the Kyle and Easy G clip. Well, it is a piece of radio history. Let's see. Oh, and Jenny also said, Shalom, peeps. These comments are showing up all out of order, so that's part of the reason. Some of them I can't read on the air, and some of them I'm skipping specifically because when Facebook starts to jumble the comments, it becomes impossible to do anything linear with them. Jenny posted this. Republican Whip Representative Steve Scalise nominated Kevin McCarthy again, his third nomination at 4 p.m. Okay, so that was happening just as we were getting on the air. Scalise gave a nominating speech for McCarthy urging unity. Democrats broke out into chants of Hakeem as Aguilar nominated Hakeem Jeffries for a third time. Republican Representative Chip Roy of Texas nominated Jim Jordan again, setting off the third ballot of McCarthy versus Jeffries versus Jordan. By the way, just to clarify something, so the reason it's not likely to happen. It's very unlikely. But through this process, it is possible that the Democrat Hakeem Jeffries could end up becoming Speaker of the House, even though it's a Republican-controlled House, if all the Democrats vote for him, as they've been doing, but Republicans continue to be split. If some Republicans were to start voting present, that decreases the threshold. In other words, if they vote present instead of, which is kind of like abstaining, but they're not actually abstaining from the vote. They're just voting present, not voting for a particular candidate. That actually lowers the threshold of votes needed to clinch the speakership. And if that number gets lowered to, I think, 212, that would give Hakeem Jeffries enough votes to actually win the become House Speaker. It's very unlikely, though. I mean, it's a tantalizing thing to think about, but it's really unlikely. And Saturn, of course, from Greensboro, North Carolina, joins us in the chat and says, we say, what's the talk about, #Matt? And we say, that is, we are hearing some jazz music. Ah, yes, the smooth jazz. Rocky Huber says, Matt, you seem to have a lot of falling outs. Do you ever feel that you might be the issue? Rocky, I am the issue. Yes, because I attract these crazy people into my life, and then they become crazy, and they turn on me. They turn on me. Alex Whiteley says they fired Chris Moyles from BBC Radio 1 as he was bringing in 8 million listeners, the peak of radio listenership for him. Radio 1 lost their listeners overnight when he left, and they never got them back. Yeah, so that's the BBC. 8 million listeners. That's nobody else is doing those kinds of numbers, obviously. And Saturn says, we will be performing this Saturday evening at Sawmill 2 Karaoke Night at Market Street in Greensboro, North Carolina. Yes. All right, very good. 603-250-6007 is the number if you'd like to join us today. 603-250-6007. Rocky says, what does BBC mean? British Broadcasting, is it company or corporation? Alex will know. I think it's British Broadcasting Company. And Saturn says, wow, McCarthy, we said. Yes. Let's see. Here is, we'll get a quick update here on, so if you're just joining us, of course, today, they are voting today for who will become Speaker of the House. And Kevin McCarthy just isn't getting there. MSNBC has the story up in historic House votes. Kevin McCarthy fails on repeated ballots. I earned this job, Kevin McCarthy told his members this morning. As the votes for Speaker get underway, not nearly enough of his own members agreed. Yeah, apparently there was a meeting, a caucus meeting this morning, and I'd love it if some audio were to leak out about the meeting. Oh, it is corporation. Thanks, Alex. British Broadcasting Corporation. I'd love to hear some audio of this, but apparently Kevin McCarthy very angry and lashing out, and there were expletives used, and things are a little tense. And remember, what we are seeing right now happen in the United States House of Representatives is that this is the first time this has happened in exactly 100 years. The last time we saw this happen, where there was such a fight over a single candidate for the Speaker, was 1923. And we went over yesterday with Jenny was here, and we went over some examples. We looked back at the history and some examples of when this has happened, in 1923 and before that. But it's been a century since anything like this has happened. And it's not as though they can kind of put this on hold and get to other business. Until this is done, until a speaker is installed, there can be no other business. The House of Representatives is effectively paralyzed, and they do have some important things to do. There's a debt ceiling vote coming up, and that's very important. And anyone who's a longtime listener of the show might know that that's kind of one of my pet issues that I don't think gets nearly enough attention because it is so incredibly important. Oh, I'm finally getting the joke in the chat room. Rocky said, weird, I see the term BBC on a lot of porn. Yeah, okay. And I think I just figured out what BBC also stands for. All right, very good. Of course, we won't go any further with that on this program. That's for the other show that I do, of course, Matt Connerton Unsheathed, which is not carried here on WMNH. That is strictly an online program. It is behind a paywall, and I'm legally prohibited from telling you how to find it. But here's the update from MSNBC. The 2020 midterm elections were exactly 8 weeks ago today. In their aftermath, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy seemed to realize that if he wanted to become Speaker, he'd need to start negotiating and bartering with his intra-party detractors. The Californian assumed he'd figure out a way to reach an agreement with his own members. That assumption was overly optimistic. Indeed, after months of behind-the-scenes talks and the rollout of a rules package designed to make the far-right members happy, McCarthy conceded this morning, just hours ahead of his fateful floor vote, that he hadn't yet secured the GOP votes he'd need to claim the gavel. But in a curious tactical move, the incumbent Republican leader oversaw a House GOP conference meeting this morning, not offering more concessions, but instead insisting that he was entitled to the leadership office. "I earned this job," McCarthy reportedly told his members. Now, again, I would love to hear the audio of that. I just think it would be interesting to hear. But I don't think, I disagree with the characterization, actually, that the author of this article uses, calling that a curious tactical move. There are some reports that he got angry. Like I said, he was swearing at everybody. He kind of was in a rage. And I suspect, number one, as far as offering more concessions, he has nothing left to offer. I mean, he actually, apparently, reporting is he went to Matt Gaetz at one point of Florida, who formerly nominated Jim Jordan today, I think after the second ballot vote, or was it before? It's hard to keep track of this now. He went to Matt Gaetz and said, one of the things when they were ironing out the rules is if there's a minimum threshold number of representatives who can decide that they want to consider a new leader if they're not happy with current leadership. And it had been whittled down to the 5. McCarthy went all the way down to 5 with that number, meaning that according to the compromise he had made with his caucus, it would only take 5 fellow Republican House members to say, we want to consider somebody else for this role and we want you out. It would only take 5 of them to stand up and say, we don't think you're doing a good job and we want somebody else, which is incredible. And apparently he got so desperate because Matt Gaetz, still not budging, he went to Matt Gaetz and said, what if we went down to 1? And Matt Gaetz said, no, there's no way. There's a term now for these Republicans. They are never Kevins. Never Kevins. So they will not consider Kevin McCarthy under any circumstances. And Kevin McCarthy can afford to have a few of these never Kevins floating around, but he can't have too many, or he can't get to 218 votes. It's as simple as that. And this could just grind on. This might go beyond today, or maybe not. Maybe by the time we're off the air today, at the end of today's show, maybe there will be a vote where this is finally, something has finally worked out where he can get to 218. I still think Steve Scalise is a dark horse. I understand Steve Scalise, as Jenny posted that article in the chat room. Actually, I think she messaged it to me about Steve Scalise went and once again endorsed Kevin McCarthy for the role. But it just seems to me, and I was saying this yesterday, Kevin McCarthy obviously not well liked or respected enough to get the 218 that he needs, but Steve Scalise might be. My impression is that Steve Scalise is generally more positively regarded and well liked by his fellow Republicans in the House than Kevin McCarthy is. So, but I don't think it's a curious tactical move that he didn't offer any more concessions because he has nothing left to concede. He's already given away the store. He has nothing left to bargain with, nothing left to barter away. And, him getting upset and swearing at people and, was that even a tactical move? Was that a new approach? Or was that just him venting and he had to get it off his chest. And, you know, he might have been driven to a point where he felt like, well, nothing I'm doing is working. So, you know, there's no reasoning with these people. I can't win them over. I can't convince them that, you know, we need to be pragmatic about this and get me in there and let's get this done today. So I'm just going to let it all out. I earned this job. I'm going to tell him I earned this job. You know, it may, in other words, it might have been a spontaneous thing. He might not have even planned to do that, but we've all had those moments where we just get angry and say something. And Jenny just posted, oh, okay, so the newest vote. So the third vote is done. Oh, wow. This is not going McCarthy's way. This is not going to be done today. So Jenny posted the new count. McCarthy, 202. Jeffries holding steady at 212. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat. And that number won't change, obviously, unless there's any Republicans who decide to... that's the other thing that Matt Gaetz apparently said to Kevin McCarthy. Matt Gaetz told him, we'd actually rather have Hakeem Jeffries than you, the Democrat. Yeah, so McCarthy, 202, Jeffries, 212, Jim Jordan, 20. 20. Jim Jordan's a clown, by the way. I can't imagine him as speaker. But this is not going McCarthy's way. I think that he's going to have to give up. And I still think Steve Scalise is just waiting to ride to the rescue here. And Jenny said on to round 4, so they're going to do a fourth ballot. Jenny said, oh, it has to be done today? They have to keep going into the night or even morning? Do they? Because I remember yesterday when we were looking at it, when this had happened before, this in some instances, the process just dragged on for weeks, you know, like in 1923 and prior to that. But then again, there might have been a rules change since then too, that they have to do it today. But at some point, people are going to get tired and cranky, I would think. Melanie agrees. She also not a fan of Jim Jordan. I can't read how she explains him on the air. But I agree with the sentiment, Melanie. I do agree with your assessment of him. Scott Robinson says the Republican Party is so, how do I put this, effed. So funny. And Saturn says, we say that is so true, hashtag Matt. That is what's going on, we said. Sure, that is so true, we say, and we heard that from hashtag Jenny Coffee. Yeah, I mean, it's not good. It's not a good look for the Republicans. And it kind of puts them in a position where they're going to have to... See, I think at this point, this is so fast. Like I said, the last time we saw something like this was before any of us were even born. But so I'm pretty fascinated by it. And, I speculate a lot on things and I end up being wrong, which is part of what's interesting about politics is trying to predict and then ending up being wrong. That's part of what keeps it interesting. But I do think that they're going to have to force him to give up, because at this point, the way this process is going, even if Kevin McCarthy does finally get the votes to become speaker, he's going to be so weakened. He's already so battered and beaten that he already doesn't have, obviously, or this wouldn't even be happening, he already doesn't have the respect of his own Republican conference in the House. So, and he's already had to give, like I said, he has nothing more to concede. He has nothing left to bargain with at this point. He's already given away the store, and he still can't get there. So they can keep going through this, but I think at some point, if he won't do it, if he won't arrive at the conclusion on his own, somebody is going to have to get into his ear, if it's not happening already, and say, Kevin, sorry, man, this just isn't going to happen. For the good of the party, you need to bow out and let's get Steve Scalise in there because he can probably get the votes. And he probably can. But Kevin McCarthy is already so damaged by what's happening that I think that he is prolonging the inevitable. That's my new prediction. I had predicted that previously, of course, that he would eventually become speaker, ultimately, even though it was going to be a tough hill to climb. But at this point, I don't think so. Watching this play out today, what's happening right now as we speak, I think it's over for him. Alex Whiteley says, this is what happens when society is completely polarized politically. And Jenny says, what a great way to lead, FFS. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a good look. All right, let's do this. We are past the top of the hour. So I didn't say anything about this yet, but we opened with a song from a band called Dust Prophet, and we have featured a lot of their music on the show. Dust Prophet, of course, fronted by my great friend Otto Kinzel. And Otto and I have been in a band together before, and we've done a lot of work together over the last 20 years in the music industry. But Dust Prophet has a brand new single that came out today. We opened with Song 4, because when I've played that on the show previously, it always gets a great response. People really like that. We're going to play the brand new track from Dust Prophet. This just came out today. So this is the world radio premiere, brand new from the band Dust Prophet. Bury Me Before Noon. So let's give this a listen, and then and this might be kind of how Kevin McCarthy is feeling right now. Just bury me. Anyway, let's listen to this. This is great stuff. I love these guys. Great band, really intense. And we'll give this a listen. We'll show some love to our amazing sponsors, and then we'll be back with the balance of our show, and we'll see where we are. We'll see where we are in the race for the Speaker of the House. More to come. Don't go away.
kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back as we are well in hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connerton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, merch, etc., etc. Today is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, and so nice to have you all with me. And the number to call, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007, if you would like to enter the discussion today on our studio line, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476, tweet me at Matt Connerton, or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. I see our friend Chris Rose from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts just joined us in there. Hello, Chris. And of course, let's see. The best thing to do, I should say, is to give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. I don't mean to sound distracted, but I'm just engrossed in what is going on today. Of course, if you're just joining us, we've been talking on the show about what is going on with the, it is a historic moment in the United States House of Representatives as the Republicans are trying to elect a speaker as they take control of the House in the new term. They are trying to elect a speaker, and Kevin McCarthy, the front runner for the job, feels he earned this job, as he said in a meeting earlier, and included some expletives apparently as he was yelling at his fellow Republicans in a meeting today before the vote, and just can't get the 218 votes needed. And Jenny pointed out in the chat room too, in the third round of voting, and they're on to round 4 now, Jim Jordan actually picked up a vote, took a vote away from McCarthy. So McCarthy only has 202, Jim Jordan 20. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat, has 212. But that will remain static, of course, because all the Democrats are voting together for Hakeem Jeffries, who becomes the minority leader for the Democrats in the new term, as he replaces Nancy Pelosi in leadership. Jenny says, yeah, I saw this earlier. Jenny says reports say that McCarthy already moved into the speaker's office prior to today, so he took a big assumption. Yeah. I'll tell you, you don't measure the drapes until you know. Oh boy, this is fascinating and it's fun. Politics is fun. I was commenting before the break about this not being this is not the most auspicious start that the Republicans could have wanted for the new term in Congress as they take over. And Karl Rove agrees, apparently. This is from Mediaite. Remember Karl Rove? He was, back in the day, he was known as Bush's brain. Utter unmitigated disaster, says Karl Rove, as he declares GOP infighting on House Speaker just beginning as chaos brings about more chaos. It says here, Karl Rove, former Bush White House aide and Fox News contributor, broke down why he believes the voting for the House Speaker is unlikely to stop anytime soon, calling the GOP's failure to elect Representative Kevin McCarthy an utter unmitigated disaster. Quote, Fox News anchor Shepard Smith. I'm time traveling. Shep's not even at Fox anymore. Sandra Smith, rather. No relation, I assume. Common name. Sandra Smith opened the segment saying, quote, with us, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff to Fox News contributor, Karl, I suppose you have to be wondering what sort of horse trading was done in between the votes here, unquote. By the way, I'm assuming none, because like we were saying before, there's nothing left. Kevin McCarthy has nothing left. He has no horses left to trade. So this was Rove's response, and he said a lot here. There's a lot. He said, quote, well, I'm more interested in the horse trading that went on beforehand, because my understanding is that yesterday, late in the day, late in the afternoon or into the evening, McCarthy made 2 concessions on the motion to vacate, where he had offered to allow such motions to take place if 5 members supported it. And I talked about that earlier. The Freedom Caucus people wanted 1, and he conceded. So he gave in on that. So it only takes one Republican House member to say, we want a motion to replace Kevin McCarthy. And he agreed to it. That's the desperation that he's in. Now, Rove did say more. He said, quote, they also wanted a special committee, church-style committee, to investigate the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. And he agreed to let that happen. But what's interesting is that they moved the goalpost. Suddenly, they wanted to have Scott Perry made chairman of the committee and for Perry to be able to designate who the committee members were. No, the speaker has that authority. This has to be done by the Committee on Committees. In addition, they wanted Freedom Caucus members to be able to designate what committees they wanted to serve on. And then the Freedom Caucus wanted to give the speaker a list of subcommittee chairs that they would be able to designate the chairman for, which, again, is, no group in the House that gets to be able to do that. The Black Caucus doesn't get it. The Veterans Committee, nobody gets to be able to do that. That's done by the Committee on Committees, unquote. My God. See, but again, this goes to what I was saying earlier. So even if he finally gets to be speaker, how much actual power is he going to have? He's going to be so weakened by that point. There's more. That Karl Rove said, quote, so they constantly are moving the goalposts. They wanted to set up a new entity. There are specific rules on how you go about putting the House of Representatives on record to engage in outside litigation. They wanted to be able to have a separate committee that they would control, that they would have that authority in unto itself. So these are extraordinary demands by the Freedom Caucus, and both for personal power. Scott Perry to be the chairman of this high-profile committee, the Freedom Caucus members to be able to designate what committees they served on, and so forth. It's a pretty extraordinary list. And what was interesting was, after McCarthy had conceded on their 2 big issues, they came up with a whole bunch of other demands. Unquote. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. If I didn't think that Kevin McCarthy was so despicable, I would almost feel sorry for him. I actually kind of enjoy watching him suffer, though, to be honest with you, because I do find him despicable. But so then Fox anchor John Roberts asked Karl a question, Karl Rove. He said, "So, Karl, we are watching this vote take place, and the others have just jumped to 7. We assume that the Democrats are hanging tough on Jeffries and remain unanimous. So those others we would expect are all from the Republican side, which means that McCarthy loses on the second ballot. So where do you go from here?" Unquote. And by the way, this segment was before we even got to the third vote. Rove replied, quote, "Well, I think you keep voting and you keep, at some point, they got to step forward and say, this is what we want. Well, they've stepped forward and said what they want, and they're not going to get it from McCarthy. And my sense is, even if McCarthy were to withdraw, that the rank and file Republicans are unlikely to be for any of these changes and are likely to withdraw some of the concessions that they've already made to the Freedom Caucus," unquote. So Sandra Smith, well, I don't want to go through the whole thing. It's like in this article, it's like they offer a transcript of the entire segment. But well, let's see. Okay, I'm going to skip down. We're not going to leave this quite yet because there's a part here where Rove discusses what happens if McCarthy does give in and say, okay, I give up. He addresses that part. So here's what he says, quote, "You have to have McCarthy agree to toss in the towel because the OK group, this is awkwardly written. Maybe it was awkwardly spoken. The only Kevin group are going to stay with him until the cows come home." So you've got the never Kevins and the only Kevins. The only Kevin group are going to stay with him until the cows come home. He's going to have to release them. So the first step is he has to come to a place where he says, I'm throwing in the towel. And then second of all, then becomes, if that were to happen, then they'd have to have discussions about who that person is. And remember, everybody now with the Freedom Caucus, if they were to be able to achieve that, would bring, I think that's supposed to be what it would bring about, is countervailing pressure from other elements of the House Republican caucus would say, well, if they were to be able to get that, then we're going to come forward with our set of demands, particularly if they're able to get somebody who agrees that they will do things like allow Freedom Caucus members to designate committees they serve on and so forth. There are going to be other demands from other groups of the House Republicans. This is it. This is an utter unmitigated disaster. Chaos tends to bring about chaos until it no longer brings about chaos. We're a long way from the point in which chaos stops bringing around more chaos. He gets a little Rumsfeldian at the end there. Rocky Huber says, every time Matt says caucus, we have to take a shot. Oh my. Rocky also said, at least we won't have to see Pelosi in her leathery skin face, and didn't use, she didn't use makeup. She used embalming fluid every morning. Well, the woman is in her 80s, you know. Okay. So that's where we are with that. This doesn't appear like it's going to end anytime soon, but we'll see. Let's see. I do want to get to something else, though. So we might circle back to that if this... Oh, actually, wait a minute. Jenny just said in the chat room, the clerk is now announcing the file third round of voting into the record. Okay. I do want to... let me give the number again, and then we're going to move on to something else, but we'll probably come back to this. We'll circle back, as Jen Psaki used to say at the podium, and she probably still does say in her job at MSNBC. But the studio line is open for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Want to do something quick on the Russian-Ukrainian war that is ongoing. One of the things from the very beginning of this, one of the things that we've done on the show quite a bit is whenever we see the Russian military failing epically, Jenny says they are done until they may adjourn until tomorrow. They are done until noon tomorrow. Yep. So they'll pick it back up tomorrow. I assume there will be many meetings and whatever horse trading there is left to do might be done, or maybe someone will try to convince this evening or before tomorrow Kevin McCarthy to just forget it and let somebody else go for it. But anyway, so since Vladimir Putin decided to invade Ukraine, we take great joy on this program in watching all of the epic failures of Vladimir Putin and his underprepared and undertrained and largely incompetent Russian military. Obviously, certainly there are people out there online. You can find plenty of them on various podcasts and other streaming endeavors on YouTube and Twitch. There are people who are pro-Russia, but I think the general consensus, certainly my feelings, and I think I'm certain most listeners of this show would agree that Russia had no right to do what they've done. Putin had no right to do this, and so we're generally very impressed at watching the way that the Ukrainian people have been fighting for their country. And it's amazing to think that at the end of next month, it will be 1 full year. At the end of February, it will be 1 full year of this war. But it's been tough on Putin for something that he thought would only be a few days, presumably. And it's now coming up on a year. And it's wonderful to see him having so much trouble, because anytime you can see evil, in the form of something like this, when you get to see evil fall on its face and fail, that's something to, I think, celebrate and point our fingers and laugh. And we have a particularly interesting epic fail here involving social media. Now, those of us who use the Facebook, you know that when you post something, you can identify where you are. So if I were to post something, if I were to grab my phone and post something on Facebook right now, I can select a location that I'm at WMNH 95.3, for example. And I will often do that in my Facebook posts when it's something related to the show. You probably shouldn't do that. Now, there are reasons why you might not want to do that, right? You might do that if you want to, I don't know, if you want to share your location, you might have a purpose in doing it. But you also might want to keep where you are a secret, either because you just don't want people to know where you are, you like to protect your privacy, you don't feel the need to let everyone know where your current location at every waking moment. You want to keep some things private. One of the things that you might want to keep private is if you're a soldier at war and you don't want to give away your location to the enemy, who is then going to blow you up once they know that you're there. That is an example of an instance where you probably don't want to identify your location on social media, which is why it is particularly stunning. We talk a lot on the show. We've talked a lot on the show over the years about social media, the value of it, both the positives, but also some of the negatives of it. This is something that we discuss on the program quite a bit, actually. And my personal feeling is, I think, like most things, social media is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing. But like any great thing, it can be used for nefarious purposes, unfortunately, and there are some negatives that come from it, and it can also get you killed. Again, if you're a soldier at war, you probably don't want to offer up where you are. So this is from a website, taskandpurpose.com, and there's a lot of military news here on this website. And this article just went up today, and it is titled, Russian Soldier Gave Away His Position with Geotagged Social Media Posts. Now, again, I understand everyone's addicted to social media. So much to the point where even when you're at war, even when you're in the battlefield, you might want to just post something, on social media just to, you want to stay engaged with the world, right? I understand that. But you might want to be a little careful about that. Says here, a Russian volunteer in eastern Ukraine has single-handedly justified every U.S. military commander's fear that American troops could unwittingly reveal their position to the enemy by posting selfies on social media. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I remember, when I still was a store manager for a national retail chain, I was always having to tell employees to put their phones away on the sales floor. You know, don't be on social media while you're on the sales floor. But even in the military, they need to be told, to put their phones away, apparently. It says here, because this Russian service member is the epitome of Carl, the U.S. Army's nickname for a soldier who always screws up, Task and Purpose is referring to him as Russian Carl to drive home just how epic his failure is. Last month, Russian Carl posted pictures and videos of himself and members of the 10th Spetsnaz Brigade I have no idea how to pronounce this. However you say it, the Russian equivalent of Facebook. Apparently Russia has their own Facebook. So we'll just call it Facebook. Just pretend I'm saying it in Russian. So this Russian Carl posted pictures and videos of himself and members of his brigade on Facebook, said former Marine Captain Rob Lee, who shared another Russian social media user's account of the debacle on Twitter. Oh my God. And here it is. Yes, Rob Lee, at RALee85 on Twitter. Anatomy of a Failure. A Russian volunteer posted photos on VK in Kherson Oblast with member of the GRU's 10th Brigade. He left the location tagging on, which makes it very easy to geolocate the Grand Prix Country Club from the tiles. God. There's an element of just Darwin to this, is there not? Some of the images and videos that Russian Carl posted had the geolocation tag turned on, making it easy for anyone to pinpoint the exact location of a country club where Russian troops were at the time, said Lee, who spent a year with the defense-focused think tank in Moscow. On December 20th, the Ukrainians destroyed that country club, and while it is unclear whether Russian Carl's failure was directly responsible for the Ukrainian attack, excuse me, he was kind enough to post video of the ruined building afterwards. Oh my God. Providing Ukrainians with a battle damage assessment that showed their strikes were successful, Lee said. This is amazing. Lee told taskandpurpose.com, quote, he left a trail of easy clues to determine where he was and was posting them openly on his page. This Russian page where I found the info was angry at him and other soldiers or supporters who make mistakes and get Russian soldiers killed, unquote. The U.S. military has long worried about just such a scenario involving American troops taking place. In 2020, a Marine unit was killed during a training exercise after a Lance Corporal posted a selfie on social media. Separately, the 1 Marine Expeditionary Force conducted an exercise a few years ago that showed how the area of a Marine base had the largest electronic signature because the Marines were constantly using their phones. Wow. Skipping down, the article's a bit long, but Russian state media has reported that, quote, active use of cellular phones by the newly arrived servicemen, unquote, had helped the Ukrainians to target the Russian troops in many instances. Such statements by state-run media and pro-war Russian military bloggers are likely part of the Russian Defense Ministry's efforts to deflect blame for failures on Russian troops themselves, as well as officials with the separatist Donetsk People's Republic, according to the Institute for the Study of War think tank in Washington, D.C. All right, there's more there, but that gets it out. Yeah, there was another instance just recently in the last, actually, I think in the last day or two, of Russian troops killed because these guys with their phones, they're giving up their locations. It's really incredible. But so another epic failure by the Russian military. A lot of these troops are, they're not there because they want to be, certainly, and there's been stories of some of these conscripts getting taken from job sites, like they're at work. Like I read one story, this was a bit ago, when Putin was trying to do that big mobilization, and there was a story I read about a large construction site in Russia, and all these construction workers, they're just there, they're swinging their hammers and doing their thing, and somebody from the Russian military shows up and basically says, "Hey, you guys are all coming with me. We're gonna go have a little adventure. Come on." and that was it. And they just conscripted them into the Russian army right there on the spot. 603-250-6007 is the number, 603-250-6007 if you'd like to join us today. Jenny said in the chat room regarding the vote for the House Speaker, she said, "I didn't think they would stop this early, but nothing is moving. It's a stalemate of sorts." Yeah, so it sounds like they're going to pick it up tomorrow. Tomorrow is a new day and a new humiliation for Kevin McCarthy. So lots of humiliation. The Russian military humiliated. Kevin McCarthy humiliated. Lots of lots of bad days. Lots of people having some bad days. Let's see. Do we have time for this? Yeah, I guess we do. One more thing I wanted to get to today that's a little bit out of left field. Jenny said in the chat, "This means we need more popcorn, LOL. By the way, none of them get a paycheck until there is a speaker." That I did not know. So they've got some incentive to get this worked out. Okay. I think we have time for it. I wanted to get to this. Donald Trump, who, if you have forgotten, is actively a candidate for the presidency of the United States, currently running for the Republican nomination. And I don't think he's done, has he done any rallies since the big announcement at Mar-a-Lago? He was doing a bunch of rallies leading up to it. It was like the rallies were leading up to the announcement. But since he announced, or has he been more focused on the selling his JPEGs? I mean, NFTs or whatever. But, some people blame him for the Republicans not having the showing that they were expecting in the midterms. And Trump is now speaking out on this. And what he said is interesting, and he's trying to deflect blame, of course. And I found this on nationalreview.com. And National Review, I haven't really pulled anything from them in a while, but I did see this. I do visit this site. This might be surprising to some of you. If you're familiar with National Review at all, and they've been around forever as a publication. I remember way back seeing, watching cable news late at night and seeing ads for National Review. It is a conservative publication, but I like it because even though I'm obviously not a conservative, I think my politics, if you had to put me somewhere on a spectrum, you'd probably call me center left. But, but I do, of course, when I talk about exposing myself to various viewpoints from different ideologies, which I think is very important. I mean, I do actually do that. That's not something I just say. So, and National Review happens to be, I'm a fan of National Review, even though the ideology does not match up with mine particularly. But I do find the content there often very good, sophisticated, much more so than like Newsmax or something like that, much more. If you want conservative content that is more intellectual, there's over the past 20 years, there's been this weird sort of anti-intellectual movement among conservatives, which is very strange. But I think National Review has some very substantive and intellectual content on it, and so I do look at it. You know, I don't have to agree with it all or much of any of it really, to still get something from it. And I do that for a couple of reasons. You know, one is so I can competently do this radio show, but the other is too, I think it's important to not end up in a bubble. People like to be in bubbles, unfortunately. That's not just in the United States. I think it's probably just human nature. Globally, people like to get into a sort of ideological bubble where they only get news from sources that feeds their already existing biases, and people are generally addicted to confirmation bias, I think, and they like to have their own existing opinions consistently reinforced. But so I try to fight against that. I try not to let that happen to me. So I'm a fan of National Review, even though I'm not a conservative. I think it's a very valuable resource. And anyway, I saw this, and there's some interesting analysis that goes with it. This is from nationalreview.com, a column called The Corner. Actually, before we get into the substance of it, it's a short article, but Ramesh Ponnuru, he's the editor of National Review. He's also a columnist for Bloomberg Opinion, and a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. So he's definitely got the conservative bona fides there if he's with AEI. But he discusses something that Trump says and then kind of analyzes it. And I wanted to go through this. This is interesting. So Trump is actually blaming pro-lifers, some, for the poor showing of the Republicans in the midterm elections. Now, it's interesting to hear that from former President Trump. You know, you've heard some people say there was leading up to the midterms. At one point, there was a lot of speculation that, in fact, the overturning of Roe v. Wade would ultimately hurt the Republicans. And then it started to look like, no, the Republicans were going to do pretty well. And then, of course, they ended up not doing that great. It was not the red wave did not happen that was largely expected. And then, but people didn't really blame the overturning of Roe v. Wade on it post-election in the postmortem. But a lot of analysts do blame Trump. And noting that a lot of the candidates that he endorsed did very poorly, not all of them, but most of them and so forth. So he's now deflecting some of that blame. But where he's deflecting it onto is the extreme, what he calls extreme pro-lifers. So this is the title of this piece is Trump blames extreme pro-lifers for Republican midterm defeats. So this is what Trump posted on Truth Social. Well, first he posted, "It wasn't my fault that the Republicans didn't live up to expectations in the midterms." Then he added this. It was 233 to 20. It was the abortion issue poorly handled by many Republicans, especially those that firmly insisted on no exceptions, even in the case of rape, incest, or life of the mother, that lost large numbers of voters. Also, the people that pushed so hard for decades against abortion got their wish from the U.S. Supreme Court and just plain disappeared, not to be seen again. Plus, Mitch, stupid, $!S! Exclamation point. I'm not sure what that means. That last part means. I assume that Truth Social, like Twitter, only gives you so many characters, even for Trump. So that's why the confusing. I assume that last part has to do with decisions that Mitch McConnell made in terms of where money would go, where campaign money would go in terms of what candidates. Remember, Mitch McConnell infamously said that he thought that the candidate quality in many cases was low. So here's what the author of the piece says about Trump's Truth Social comments. He says, "This is a pile of nonsense atop a kernel of truth." And I think this analysis is interesting. He says, "Some Republican candidates took the positions on abortion Trump is describing. Tudor Dixon, the Republican nominee for governor of Michigan, favored banning abortion without exceptions for rape and incest. Tim Michels, the gubernatorial nominee in Wisconsin, took the same position until reversing it in the fall. Doug Mastriano, running for governor in Pennsylvania, said he opposed exceptions. Herschel Walker, the Senate nominee in Georgia, said much the same. Arizona Senate nominee Blake Masters waffled a bit on abortion during the campaign, but during the primaries, he sometimes implied opposition to any exceptions and never explicitly supported any. Such positions were surely a liability in competitive states. Dixon, Michels, Mastriano, Walker, and Masters all lost. All of these candidates had Trump's backing, however, which undercuts his ability to run away from the defeats of 2022. He chose candidates based on their loyalty to him, not their ability to win their races. His loyalty test tended to screen out candidates who were better suited to win competitive states, like Doug Ducey in Arizona, who backs the standard exceptions to an abortion ban. The overall pattern of results suggests that voters punished Republicans more for their close ties to Trump, and especially to his claim to have won the 2020 election, than for their opposition to abortion. Republican governors who signed bans on partial bans on abortion cruised to re-election in Florida, Georgia, Ohio, and Texas. There's a little left here, but then I want to circle back to what Trump said. Some House races illustrated the point especially starkly. Jamie Herrera Butler, who lost her primary in Washington state after voting for the second impeachment of Trump, is a pro-lifer. Joe Kent, who beat her in the primary with Trump support, then lost a seat to a Democrat. The same basic story played out in Peter Majer's Michigan district. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Neither outcome amounted to an electoral rebuke of pro-lifers. Republicans should be open to adjusting their approach to abortion, most importantly because it might help them to be more effective in fighting abortion. But the election results suggest that detaching from Trump, and especially from his worst aspects, is the more urgent political priority. So that's what Ramesh says about it. I want to add something. I mean, I think his assessment is largely sound, but Trump, and here's something I don't say often, right? But, credit where due. I think there is something in Trump's analysis here that is a little bit more, he called it he said this is a pile of nonsense atop a kernel of truth. I don't know. I think it's a little bit more than a kernel, because this was really what Trump is pointing out. I don't know how much the pile of nonsense part is Trump just claiming that this is why Republicans did poorly compared to, or in contrast with, what the expectation was in terms of a red wave. And it's obvious Trump's strategy, right? He's trying to deflect blame. But at the same time, the kernel of truth, which I think might be a little bit more than a kernel, is that there has definitely been more kind of an extreme shift in that. The way I remember it growing up is Republicans always being the pro-life party, but always, like, it was never even a question, always exceptions for rape, incest, and the mother's health. Always. There was never any discussion about those not being exceptions that I can recall. Even Ronald Reagan, what's funny is when I was a kid, my dad, I don't think he'll mind me saying this. My dad was actually a Democrat when I was growing up, and now he's obviously a conservative. But I remember him saying he was no fan of Reagan when I was a kid. But he did say the one thing that he appreciated about Reagan was his being pro-life and being very open about it. But even Reagan, I don't remember Reagan ever objecting to exceptions, right? That used to be a standard thing among Republicans. Somewhere that changed. And it's not as though it changed. I think it started to change before this election cycle that we just went through. Certainly, it didn't just come out of nowhere, but even in the wake of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, to see so many Republican candidates saying pro-life, no exceptions, none at all, that's a kind of a new thing. And I think Trump, again, not something I would say often, I think he has a point. I don't accept that that's the reason. I honestly, I don't know that it had anything to do with abortion or that it really had that much to do with Trump. I do think when people talk about these were Trump-endorsed candidates and that's why they lost, it was a rejection of Trump, I think people kind of overplay that. Obviously, if you're a regular listener of the show, you know how I feel about Trump. I'm not a fan, to put it mildly. But I do think that, some of the things that I see and I hear just talking about Republicans not doing nearly as well as expected is a direct rebuke of Trump himself. I'm a little skeptical there. And part of why I'm skeptical there is because I'm generally skeptical that people pay as much, that voters pay that much attention when it comes to endorsements, whether it's who is endorsing whom, or whether it's the editorial board at a newspaper making an endorsement. I don't know that voters pay that much attention to that. I really don't. I've always been skeptical of that. Not that there isn't value in endorsements and having the backing of powerful entities, but I think that shows up more in terms of fundraising. If you're trying to raise money, yeah, you want that New York Times editorial board endorsement, right? Yeah, you want the most popular people in your respective political party behind you in a very public way, right? When you're trying to raise money, when you're begging for cash from Fat Cat donors, you want to look like you've got a lot of support. But I'm skeptical that it actually matters that much at the ballot box. It matters, I guess it matters in terms of getting to the ballot box, certainly in terms of getting the nomination for whatever the office is, certainly, because again, it matters in terms of fundraising, but does the average voter actually really put that much weight on who is this candidate aligned with, who endorses and supports them? I'm not so sure about that. I'm always skeptical, so I wouldn't put it all on Trump, and I think there is some truth in what Trump is saying here. I do, but I thought the analysis was interesting. And then, do we have time for this? Mike Pence actually responded to it. Alex Whiteley in the chat room says, I was watching Home Alone 2 with my 8-year-old at Christmas. The scene where Trump turns up in the hotel lobby came up. My kids snarled in disgust, haha. Rocky Huber says, I was watching Home Alone 1 and the part where with Boris Johnson came on and my son snarled in disgust. Who ate more McDonald's, Boris Johnson or Donald Trump? I'm going to guess Trump. Rocky Huber says, I'm okay. I just know they removed the Donald Trump part from the movie when he became president and everyone started to hate him. Yeah, I think if you watch Home Alone 2 on Netflix or whoever has it, Hulu or whoever owns the rights to it, they did remove that scene with Trump. Trump has a cameo, just a very brief cameo in Home Alone 2. Do we have time for Pence's response? I got to do this quick if we do. This is also from National Review. Pence responds after Trump blames pro-lifers for GOP midterm struggles. It says former Vice President Mike Pence responded to Trump's comments, blaming pro-lifers for the GOP's lackluster midterm performance by endorsing a statement released by Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America. Quote, the approach to winning on abortion in federal races proven for a decade is this. State clearly the ambitious consensus pro-life position and contrast that with the extreme view of Democrat opponents. We look forward to hearing that position fully articulated by Mr. Trump and all presidential candidates, unquote, the organization said in a statement released Monday. It's an interesting statement. It's interesting that they went out of their way to mention Trump. The remarks drew Pence's approval on Twitter Monday night. And then some of it just recaps what Trump said. Okay, so we'll end with that. All right, very interesting. We got to go. We are out of time, my friends. It is Tuesday, so if you're listening live on WMNH, immediately after this show is Through the Stage Door, hosted by the great Rob Dion. He also does a segment on the morning show on Thursdays, actually a couple segments, I guess, Name That Tune and the Entertainment Report. But he also does his own show Tuesday nights immediately following this show, Through the Stage Door. So that is coming up next. And again, congratulations. I think we said it, but I'll reiterate it today. Congratulations to Rob and Keith on their impending nuptials. Very nice, very nice. And I think we will leave you today with because Shannon seemed to enjoy it earlier, and we'll do this one more time. We'll end the show with a little bit of smooth jazz. How's that? Everyone loves the Matt Connerton Smooth Jazz Experience. And don't forget, of course, if you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnerton.com. All right, we got to go. Out of time. Talk to y'all a little bit later. Ooh, listen to that bass. It's groovy.